The all-new Mazda BT50 has finally landed on our shores, and from the looks of it, it has the makings of a winner. In this video, we find out if the all-new Mazda BT50 4x2 has the right formula for a modern pickup truck. Let's do this. Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another truck review. If you're new to my channel, I hope you click that subscribe button for your regular dose of Philippine automotive content. If you're my subscriber already, well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show after you click that like button. Also, special thanks to Mazda Makati for providing the Mazda BT50 4x2 to do this review. If you are within the area and you have a need for a Mazda, head on down here to Mazda Makati and check them out. For any inquiries, you may contact the person in my pinned comment below. The all-new Mazda BT50 marks an important event in the entire BT50 lineup because it is the first time that this BT50 does not share a platform with a Ford. You see, ever since it was introduced in 2006, all Mazda BT50s were based off the Ford Ranger platform, but this time around, Mazda decided to team up with fellow Japanese car maker Isuzu to create the all-new BT50. Now, this Mazda BT50 is based off the Isuzu DMAX platform, but it does come with several features and designs that make it truly a Mazda. Now, what we have here is the middle-spec Mazda BT50 4x2 automatic, and it retails for 1,430,000 Philippine pesos. Now, if you think about it, that's around 40,000 Philippine pesos more expensive than, let's say, an Isuzu DMAX LSA 4x2, but we'll see in this video if that added cost can be justified. When you first see the BT50, the words that come to mind are smooth, elegant, classy. Now, these are not the words that you'd use to describe a pickup truck. So how come these words keep popping in my head every time I see this thing? Now, Mazda might be onto something here because most people who buy these trucks, well, they would use it for lifestyle purposes with the occasional rugged intention. Now, this BT50 comes with Mazda's signature Kodo design language here, which ties it closer to the rest of the lineup. In fact, when you look at it from the front, it looks like a muscular and lifted CX-9. Now, this mid-spec BT50 4x2 automatic comes with LED DRLs, LED headlights, and LED fog lights, which is a huge step up from other pickups in the same price category. Now, this front fascia moves away from what a brutish truck would look like and more towards a refined truck that is more at home in the urban jungle. Now, this might be the 4x2 trim, but it does get some features and goodies that is normally found in the top spec 4x4. This BT50 4x2 automatic gets power folding side mirrors with LED turn signals, but it doesn't get functional roof rails up top, which can be found in the BT50 4x4. Now, the wheel size of this 4x2 is also a tad bit smaller at 17 inches, but the design of these 17-inch alloy wheels is more appealing and less polarizing than the ones that can be found in its Isuzu DMAX cousin. Now, these 17-inch alloy wheels are wrapped in 255/65 R17 tires. Behind those wheels, we get the exact same mechanical bits found in the Isuzu DMAX. This BT50 4x2 gets ventilated disc brakes up front, drums at the back, and for the suspension, we have a double wishbone setup in the front and leaf springs at the back. Now, the ground clearance of this thing is still at 240 millimeters, and the all-important flood wading capacity is at a robust 800 millimeters. Now, the rear end of this Mazda BT50 is a pretty typical pickup rear end. We get a candy bar style housing for the tail lights, and the tailgate itself is still unassisted. Now, once you got this tailgate open, you'll see that it comes with a standard bed liner here, and for a limited time only, well, these introductory Mazda BT50s will be getting this pickup truck bed cover right here. Now, to know more about the details of that, it's best for you to contact Mazda Makati to know more about this. Now, when it comes to the actual performance figures of this BT50 when it comes to towing and payload, well, it's pretty much par for the course with this truck. Brake towing capacity stands at 3,500 kilograms, and its maximum payload capacity is in excess of 1,000 kilos. Under the hood, the Mazda BT50 does not get a Skyactiv engine. Instead, what we have here is a 3-liter turbo diesel motor that is the same one found in an Isuzu DMAX. Now, this diesel engine puts out 187 horsepower and 450 newton meters of torque. Now, the power is sent to the rear wheels via a 6-speed automatic transmission sourced from ASIN. Now, while this might not be a Skyactiv engine and transmission, well, we all know that Isuzu engines will provide many decades of dependable service. Did you know that the Philippines is one of the first few countries to get a left-hand drive Mazda BT50? Well, now you know. Now, while the top spec 4x4 BT50 gets all the bells and whistles plus that premium Mazda cabin experience, well, this 4x2 automatic BT50 gets a few features and amenities here that are okay for the price that you're paying for this thing. Yeah, but it still doesn't deliver that full-blown Mazda premium cabin experience that I've come to expect in recent Mazdas nowadays. Case in point, well, the key. The key of this BT50 4x2 automatic is just a regular standard car key here. You don't get an engine push start button, you don't get a smart key fob. Now, the seats of this thing is also wrapped in fabric, but to its credit though, the seats are a good balance of comfort and support and should give you an easy time driving this thing when you take your BT50 out on a long drive. Now, the steering wheel is also just a urethane material. This is not leather wrapped. And it's kind of weird for me to see a urethane steering wheel inside a modern, newer Mazda nowadays, because I'm kind of used to seeing these things being wrapped in leather. It's not really a big issue, guys, because, well, this is still a quick and cheap aftermarket fix. But yeah, maybe I just got used to seeing Mazdas with a nice, genuine leather steering wheel here. Now, the wheel also comes with buttons for hands-free connectivity and standard cruise control because this BT50 4x2 automatic does not get Mazda's active safety technology bits that the 4x4 BT50 gets. We have to make do with standard cruise control here. However, well, the adaptive cruise control and all that might be found in the 4x4 BT50, but this 4x2 variant still gets a decent set of safety features. As you can see on your screen, it's got a good amount of safety bits here that will keep you and your family safe whenever you're driving the BT50. Now, the steering wheel also adjusts for tilt, and it also telescopes, which is a bit of good news for much taller drivers than I am. Now, when you look at the instrument gauge cluster here, the gauge cluster looks eerily similar to the ones found in the Isuzu DMAX. We get an analog tach and speedo here, and we have a smallish looking colored multi-information display in the middle that displays your vital vehicle information. Now, when you move over to the infotainment system here, well, the 4x2 BT50 automatic takes another feature cut here because we don't get the full-blown 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Rather, this is a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which thankfully is still equipped with wireless Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto. Now, we also have the image here of the reverse camera, and this BT50 4x2 automatic is also equipped with rear parking sensors. So parking this thing in a mall parking lot is going to be quite easy. Now, when you go down to the climate control buttons and switches here, well, it's a bit of a step back in terms of the premium level because this looks like a pretty straightforward climate control knobs and the buttons here. We don't get those premium feeling switches that the BT50 4x4 automatic gets. So yeah, The climate control setup here works, but yeah, it doesn't really look too premium in my eyes. Now when you go down from there, beside the shifter, we have here a button for hill descent control, which this BT50 4x2 also gets. So despite being just a 4x2 variant, well, we still have that hill descent control. Now we also have a manual handbrake here, and we have a couple of cup holders which I will subject to my clean canteen test. Now, as you can see, the BT50 passes my clean canteen because it can easily fit my clean canteen in this cup holder. Now we have a nice, well, still plastic, but at least we still have this nice center armrest here. And if you look at the entire cabin layout and materials used, as I said, yeah, you don't really get that full-blown Mazda premium cabin experience here. We do have some nice leather, stitched leather inserts here at the front part of the top dashboard, but if you go to the back part, well, it is made of hard plastic. The tops of the door cards, also hard plastic. We do get some leather inserts here in the door cards, but yeah, we have a lot more hard plastics in this cabin than premium soft touch materials. It's not really a big problem, guys, because, well, this is still a utility workhorse pickup truck, but the way Mazda has styled this thing to look like a lifestyle truck, yeah, it doesn't really make much connection in that regard. Still, if you want that full-blown Mazda premium cabin experience, you can always pony up for the top spec Mazda BT50 4x4 automatic. Now the back seat of the Mazda BT50 is pretty much a typical double cab pickup back seat. We do get grab handles here, which would help with easier access to the back. So now that we're inside, you'll see that at 5'6", and this is my driving position here, I still get around 6 inches of knee room and a good 4 inches of headroom. So this is a pretty decent space for a pickup back seat. Now when it comes to amenities, we do get a good amount of amenities here, even in this 4x2 trim. The BT50 4x2 automatic gets a pair of rear AC vents, a solo USB charge port here, a tiny cubby there, and a small hook for, well, smaller items like paper bags or plastic bags. Now the seat themselves also fold up and gives you access to some hidden cubbies under the seat. Other than that, guys, well, it's as I mentioned, it's a pretty typical mid-size pickup truck back seat. Alright guys, so we're now driving the Mazda BT50 4x2 automatic, and while this is just a short test drive, I did get to spend some more time with the Isuzu cousin, the Isuzu DMAX. Now, Mazdas are known for infusing that Jinba Itai driving feel in their vehicles. Jinba Itai simply means horse and rider as one. So in this driving segment, I'm going to share with you how Mazda managed to infuse that Jinba Itai essence in this Mazda BT50 4x2 automatic. Now first up, steering feel and response. Whilst the DMAX has a pretty heavy steering feel to it, well, this BT50 has a much lighter steering feel. Now, it is light and it feels like I'm piloting a crossover, but it doesn't feel too numb. You see, most electric power assist systems, when they are made to be so light, that they would lose their spirit, they would lose their that driving feel. This BT50 doesn't lose that. Even if the steering wheel is on the lighter side, yeah, the response is still pretty good. Now, I have just been driving this thing for only like, what, 10 minutes now, and yet, yeah, I could see immediately that the steering response has been tuned with Mazda's sporty intentions in mind. Now, when it comes to the ergonomics and driving character of the BT50, well, it is more car-like than most of the other mid-size pickup trucks available in the local market. You see, the seats are mounted pretty well and pretty high up, so I have a good commanding view of the road. The thing is, the dashboard is mounted on the low side as well as the door card, so my overall visibility is much improved. Now, I also love how Mazda positioned the steering wheel here. It's positioned in a way that it feels more like I'm driving a crossover rather than a mid-size pickup truck. So yes, overall ergonomics and driving character of this thing, it doesn't feel too burly. It doesn't feel too too unwieldy. But rather it feels like it's going to be so easy to drive around in tight city streets. Now for the suspension tuning of this thing, well, this is just a short test drive, so I only got to drive it around on city streets like this. But surprisingly, the suspension tuning is pretty good. It doesn't feel too jittery on paved roads like what we're going through now. We have a nice and smooth asphalt road here, and the suspension is it's pretty good. It doesn't feel too rocky, too rough. It doesn't feel like I'm driving a pickup truck. But here's the thing, when you step on the throttle, you will hear that signature Isuzu diesel engine rattle coming inside the cabin. So yes, despite the fact that Mazda has placed some insulation material in strategic areas in this BT50 to minimize on ambient noise getting inside the cabin, well, that diesel engine rattle still makes its way inside, and it makes itself known that you are piloting a mid-size pickup truck. Now that's just the thing. The NVH levels of this truck is above average, in fact. It's pretty good, save for that diesel rattle. But when it comes to hearing about the jeepney beside me or the other cars or vehicles on the road, none of that noise comes inside this cabin. So when it comes to the NVH levels, despite being just 4x2 trim of the BT50, well, Mazda was able to tune it pretty well. It's a pretty quiet cabin here, in fact. Now when it comes to the overall cabin comfort of the Mazda BT50, well, we do get some pretty cold air conditioning here, and I like the fact that despite not having any window tint on this demo unit, well, the sun's heat outside doesn't really get inside the cabin too much. You see, Mazda has used a special treatment for its window glass such that it cuts down on infrared radiation, which helps to cool down the cabin a lot faster. So that is a bit of good news, especially for Mazda BT50 owners who live in tropical countries like the Philippines. Overall, guys, well, this is just a short test drive of the Mazda BT50, so I don't really have much experience with it to give it a full assessment. But based on my initial impressions with this truck, well, it drives pretty similarly to its Isuzu DMAX cousin. Now, the ergonomics of this thing feels a little bit better, I'll give it that. Yes, but I will need more seat time in the Mazda BT50 in order to give a full driving assessment. The Mazda BT50 is undeniably the most elegant-looking pickup truck in the local market today, marrying the shiny good looks of Mazda's Kodo design with Isuzu's legendary reputation for ruggedness. It's a pickup truck that you can daily drive in the city without coming across as a brute or a bully. And given that most of these lifestyle trucks will be driven on paved roads anyway, as I said, Mazda might be onto something here. Now, when you pair that with Mazda Philippines' 5-year free preventive maintenance service plan, well, it looks like the Mazda BT50 has the makings of another Mazda bestseller. Thanks for watching.